This is Gerardo Del Real with Resource Stock Digest. Joining me today, a very special guest for a very special company. He's the chairman of FinEx Metals, Mr. Tero Kosonen. Tero, great to have you on. How are you today, sir?
Thank you, Gerardo. I'm doing very well, and hopefully you as well.
I am doing excellent. Listen, we talked for about 20 seconds off air briefly, right? And I mentioned to you that I thought your timing was absolutely excellent with FinEx. And, it's great to be good. It's sometimes just as great to be lucky. And I think you have a little bit of both. Let me tell you what has really, really stood out to me about FinEx. One, the capital markets experience. Two, the large land package around major companies and around active mines. I think that is underappreciated. Three, the infrastructure. Four, the fact that you have drill permits in hand. So you have major catalysts. So when I look at all of that, that checks a lot of boxes. There's a lot of other things I like about FinEx, but I want to get into those individually. But before we get into that, I want to get into the capital markets experience with yourself and your background. And then I want to talk the technical expertise, which I think is going to be critical in this central belt that you have, this belt of rocks that already has proven up multiple multi-million ounce gold discoveries.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. Well, first of all, yeah, Tero Kosonen, born and raised in Finland. That's why the name and the accent. Um I got a business degree from Finland, non-technical. I spent the first 24 years of my life there. Then I moved to China. I ended up spending about 27 years in mainland China and Singapore before then moving to Vancouver about 3 years ago. Um, most of my career, I've been an entrepreneur and an investor. So I started buying gold in 2003, then the gold major, equities, and then venture into this, the most adventurous part, the junior mining in about 2014 with lots of private placements ever since.
Yep.
So FinEx Metals is actually, that's my first ever, let's say, executive position in any junior mining companies. And I'm truly excited about that one. I'm also a co-founder of a company called New Quest Capital. So that's an entrepreneurial, discovery-driven investment group that focuses on incubating and financing early stage exploration projects globally. And what I mean globally to us actually is about Australia, it's about Western US, it's about Canada, and then it's about Finland so far. So we're very picky on the jurisdiction. We quite like technical risk, but not so much like jurisdictional risk, which again, as you know, in today's geopolitical times and whatever upheaval, it can be a real risk.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's dive into the technical aspect of it. And then I really want to dive into the jurisdiction and how you ended up with all this 100% owned prime real estate with phenomenal infrastructure that, again, some of that is you and the team being really good at what you do. Some of that has to be luck, and I'll ask you about that. But let's talk about that technical team, because the technical team is what is going to uncover and unlock what Mother Nature left behind, right? And what we're hoping for is multi-million ounce gold deposits of high grade gold with phenomenal infrastructure. That's the hope. How we get there is all about the team and all about the approach. And you've already had a lot of success with your sampling, I think up to 95 grams per ton gold. And I think there's like 50 something samples of some ridiculous number that just, you don't usually get that kind of early success just with the sampling, right?
Absolutely, yeah, thank you. And yeah, we've been very fortunate. I mean, really, really fortunate. Having said that, my background, as I said, I've been more of a generalist in the past. I'm non-technical. I'm not a geologist, so I'm used to trying to get attract the best technical minds to be supporting, and then I won't be micromanaging them. I'm not gonna be telling them where to drill and what to do. I just want to attract and retain the best, motivate the best talents out there, and I got really fortunate with having the team what we have right now. So we have true great Finnish geological team, boots on the ground, so to speak. So they know the lay of the land, they know the geology, they know the stakeholders, whether it's the government officials or whomever, and really more importantly, they know about how to operate in there. They speak the language and whatnot. They know who are the trustworthy, reliable service partners and whatnot. So that's really crucial for a small company, like basically mining startup, like at the stage where we are right now. So yeah, I was able to. Well, let me backtrack a little bit. So the whole idea about FinEx came because of Rupert Resources. I mean, their fantastic Ikari discovery in 2020. Let's be frank, even though I was born and raised in Finland, I didn't think about, okay, one day I'm going to be, leading a gold exploration there in my homeland. That really wasn't the original plan. But Rupert's Ikari, discovery really changed the whole thinking. And then we had New Quest Capital Group. We really started thinking about, hey, you know what, we need to get a presence in Finland. We need to set up a company there focusing on gold. So really my first thing what I did was I contacted my old buddies at the GTK, that's the Finnish Geological Survey, and really asking who's the best available exploration geologist there, and he give me a name and number. I'm gonna reach out to him or her.
Yeah.
And they got back to me with the name Dr. Petri Peltonen, and I reached out to Petri and kind of briefly introduce myself, my background, what I've been doing, what I want to achieve, and he happened to have some time availability to actually take on a consultant role as our chief geologist, and I'm very fortunate that he did, and he was able to really assemble the land package what we have right now. And as you mentioned, on the very prospective central Lapland greenstone belt, we are only about 17 kilometers away from Europe's largest gold producing mine, that's the Kittilä mine by Agnico Eagle. We are on the same belt as with Rupert's Ikkari, but we are about 53 kilometers away from them. So it's exciting. I mean, right now I don't think there would be any chance to get such kind of land package what we were able to assemble only just about 4 years ago. So again, FinEx has been around for 4 years, most of it as private company. Obviously, as you know, we just got listed on the TSXV about less than 4 weeks ago. This is a very, very, young story. But on the other hand, during these 4 years, there's been lots and lots of systematic work, what has been happening, so that we are right now at the stage that we will be able to drill test our flagship, key priority gold target. And as you mentioned, especially from last summer, we did extensive trenching, which is great that we are actually able to do that, because we are operating a dry land, while as there are many other projects in Finland, they are more a wetland swamp area, so they can first of all do any trenching, and they can only drill during the winter seasons. But we were able to do the trenching and some really spectacular numbers there from the outcrop. Again, I have to emphasize, those are not channel samples; those are rock crab samples from an area about 400 meters times 500 meters, and that's the area that we will be then drill testing, actually starting in about 2 weeks' time.
Let's talk about, you mentioned the jurisdiction, critical, right? You mentioned the government support, absolutely critical. But the other aspect to it is infrastructure. It's great to have, a multi-million ounce high grade gold deposit. Everyone should be so lucky. Let's see if we get there with FinEx. But Rupert has proved it, and they have, a project that at current prices is approaching a couple of $1 billion in net present value, right? You have a tiny, tiny market cap. Where is it today?
I think we are pretty much 18 million Canadian.
Right. Let's call it 20 just for kicks, right? The difference between
sure.
20 million and 2 billion, there's a lot of runway there if you're successful with the drill bit, right? And being close to infrastructure is, and this is me looking way ahead as I typically do, but if you do make that significant discovery at your flagship, you're going to benefit from that infrastructure, and it's going to make the economics that much more attractive. And when you have major operators like Agnico already in the region and other big players in the region, it makes exploration success a whole lot more fun. Can you talk about the infrastructure in place already?
Absolutely, yeah. So, well, first of all, let's start from where we are. So it's about latitude 68. So it's pretty darn up north in there.
Yeah.
It's about 170 kilometers north of Arctic Circle. So if you compare that one, let's say, even to Canada or maybe many other jurisdictions who are at that latitude,
Yeah.
people will be thinking, Tero, forget about it. There's nothing in there. Basically, it's just pure nature. But we do have pure nature, but then again, it's absolutely amazing infrastructure. If you think about that, excuse me, so there's great road access. Most of it's, paved roads, or then at least very, very well maintained forestry roads in there. So from our field office, which happens to be located on a ski resort, it's only about 55 minutes to drive to our drill site. And at that time, maybe we only need to walk maybe another 200 or 300 meters to actual drill site. So I'm just saying it couldn't be better than that. Now, on top of it, of course, we have all the power lines there. We have mobile networks, 4G, 5G, or the water supply. Everything is in there ready. As you said, should we be fortunate that we'll actually make a real discovery, the capex is going to be very, very reasonable in that with that infrastructure. And I guess the other thing what I want to emphasize, because people talking about infrastructure, all about roads and power and networks, I also include the human resources. It's very important that first of all, of course, we don't need to have any helicopters, any camps. That's obvious. But I'm just talking about quality of the people. Got very, very skillful labor force in there. We got good geologists there. We got excellent service providers, the drillers, whether it's geomagnetics, any geophysics, any consultants and whatnot. So it's all in there, which is going to be fantastic and helpful for us. So the point being, we don't need to be flying people from all around the world to do the work for us. Yep. They are there.
What comes next? The $1 million question, right? Hopefully, what comes next? How do we see what Mother Nature left behind and how much?
Well, that's right. I mean, again, your guess is as good as mine at this point, right? So I'm therefore really excited about this upcoming drill program, what we are having, and as I said, we're going to be commencing that in about 2 weeks' time. So at the very end of July, and going to be running it for about 6 to 7 weeks, all the way to about mid-September, planning to have 2,500 meters. And again, it's super excited. It's not only me, it's our geologists, not only our geos on the ground, but also then our senior advisors, what we have here in Canada, some of our, very geologically advanced investors and institutions who have done their due diligence and invested in FinEx. And so everybody's just excited about that one, but saying, I'm going to be flying there in about 10 days from now, and I'll be there.
Excellent. Well, listen, let's do this from the field. You have excellent 4G and 5G network. I would love to have you on and talk with you as the drill bit starts spinning, right?
And you know what? Maybe we can even get some reindeers to that video.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Would be more authentic than that.
I mean, you can't beat that. You can't beat that. Tero, it's been an absolute pleasure. I really think, again, that your timing is perfect. And I think it's going to be an exciting Q3 and Q4, not just in the gold space, but specifically for FinEx. You have a lot of catalysts coming up. We didn't even talk about some of the other projects. I want to keep the focus on the flagship for today's discussion. Let's talk about those projects in the future, though, maybe the next time we chat, because you have a portfolio full of these things.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this.
Hey everybody, Gerardo Del Real here. If you're enjoying the content that you just saw, you can let us know in 3 simple steps. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and please share across your network and on social media. Take care, everybody.